Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the Scorched Earth Political Podcast for beautiful Sunday. Oh my gosh, where's the weekend go? Sunday, April 6th. Just seems like yesterday it was January 1st. I guess the trauma of the Trump administration has kind of made it go a little quicker than I thought. Ugh, every day's like the horror show. Hey, if you could real quickly hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. We're getting some nice feedback. I appreciate the comments, even the trolls. Love the trolls. It's all part of the ecosystem, right? For better or worse, friend or foe, doesn't really matter. I'm out here at a beautiful lake, and know a lot of you are probably saying, "Wow, is that George Clooney's home base, Lake Como in Italy?" No, there's only three things that separate me from George Clooney. And one is looks, talent, and money. Other than that, we're all the same, right? God bless. So this morning, you know, I'm a I'm a pretty on-time guy. I'm not really OCD, but I've always kind of valued time. And so when I wake up in the morning, I set the alarm. Let's say I'm going to wake up at 8 o'clock. I set it for 7 o'clock so I can look at it and go, oh, thank God, I got more time, right? I think probably a lot of us do. I'm not really big on the snooze button that much. So this morning, I know, and I guess this may be my OCD, when I actually roll out of bed, 12 minutes later, I'll be in the car. I'll be revving the car up and I'm coming down, right? So when I get going, literally that 12 minutes, it is like a tsunami of activity. I am going left. I am going right. I am putting stuff. I've got all the stuff for the podcast. I got all the little technical stuff. Yeah, I know. I'm more than a pretty face. Yeah, that's me, right? So I'm getting everything, and I get the camera, and I get the tripod, and I get all that other stuff, and I get all my notes. And I was going to go to a rally today, and which I did. And I live in the San Bernardino Mountains, which is literally where Yeti and mountain goats live. That's literally all that lives here, right? And if I happen to be eaten during the course of this podcast, well, let me tell you something. There's going to be some really overstuffed animals, let me tell you. And so I have to literally travel 55 minutes just to get to civilization. Yeah, like where the running water is, right? Like this is LA's version of the Appalachian Mountains, Martians. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of city folk think that, right? So I get down the hill and I've got all these things I've got to accomplish, and then I realize I don't have my wallet. Oh my God, Jesus! Now what am I going to do, right? So I head over to my mom's house. And I go there every day, but this obviously had to be rectified. I need to get some cash, right? I need to get, quote unquote, the mom payday loan, right? So I go in there and I said, hey, mom, can I borrow a couple bucks? I got to do this, I got to do that. And she says, that's fine. I said, I'll get it back to you tomorrow. And she says, well, what are you doing today? And I said, I'm going to a rally over in Claremont, California, to protest the Trump administration. She says, you're going to go You're going to go without a wallet, without ID? And I said, yeah, mom, I'm going to live dangerously. Now, typically, we'd all laugh it off. But after we saw what happened to that poor Maryland man who got deported, now you take a second thought, right? I'm not really afraid. I'm not going to run scared. But man, there is that nanosecond that you think about it again, right? So I said, no, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And she goes, no, I don't know if you should go. And so then I got to start ratcheting it up. I got to kind of tease her a little. I go, well, mom, hopefully I don't get deported to San Salvador and get my head shaved. Now, obviously, people who watch the podcast, I don't really have that much hair anyway. When I go get my hair cut by the stylist, they say I've got a high hairline. That means, hey, mother effer, you're going bald. Yeah, I get it. Okay, okay. Hey, look. Sometimes the beauty diminishes. I know. You think you're looking at Brad Pitt circa 1988, but no, I'm aging. Right? And all that comes with it. And so I said, yeah, this may be the last time you see me. And she goes, oh, John, don't. You probably shouldn't go. And then I said, well, mom, I'm off. I'll be back in a little while. But I said, if this is the last time I see you, I want you to know I love you. And she goes, Johnny, don't go. But then she says, and I'm serious, she says, if you get arrested and we're asleep, don't call till morning. Oh, I love you, Mom. You're the best, right? Don't call till morning. I don't want to lose those that beauty sleep, right? You just can't make that stuff up, right? Nothing like mom. Nothing like mom, right? All right. So let's get into the news. Like I said, we're taking no prisoners, telling no lies. Friend and foe alike are welcome here, especially the foe. Put your stuff in the comments so I can go ahead and smash you in the head a little. Okay? Hey, don't be scared. Don't be scared. I believe me, this is a good week for the trolls. They were kind of out today. So we have this week of incredible tariffs and the stock market crashing, incredible wealth literally evaporating before our eyes. And I wondered to myself, I started doing a little research, is what is this going to affect the Trump budget plans? Now, the House made a tentative budget resolution 2 weeks ago. That's when Chuck Schumer gave up all semblance of having a soul and a heart. And when he passed that in the Senate, he allowed it to pass in the Senate. And it was a party line vote in the House, right? Nobody defected, not even the conservatives like Chip Roy and those gentlemen, those devil spawners, I like to call them. And so now, with constituents starting to lose 401ks, pension money, just money they have individually invested in the stock market, I'm wondering, does this really peel off from where the Senate and the House do in terms of trying to give Trump a legislative victory? Is this going to be that moment of him in the golf cart in Doral, um, hanging with the Saudis, the ones who killed Adnan Khashoggi? Yeah, I mean, you really can't even make this up. The ones deeply involved in 9/11. What happened to the party of law and order? I guess the Republicans left that at the altar, right? When they sold their soul. Well, you'd have to narrow that one down, John. Yeah, I don't have enough time on the podcast to do that. So the Senate has a tentative budget plan to usher in Trump's sweeping domestic priorities. And the law is getting, and this tentative proposal is getting a very cold shoulder from the Republicans in the House. Right now, the Republicans in the House have a wing, the Freedom Caucus, let's call it that. It's mostly what they are, where they are extremely conservative. Like I said, Chip Roy, people like that, Comer, we are deficit hawks on deficit hawks. Now, we saw where all that went the first go around in 2017 on the first round of help the billionaires, screw the middle class and the poor tax cuts. So they all got in line. They probably will get all in line, but it does seem like we're seeing quite a bit of separation between the Senate Republicans and the House Republicans. Trump has endorsed the Senate plan. Honestly, the only thing that guy's worried is, am I going to hit an 8-iron here or a pitching wedge? That guy is just totally checked out from national politics, but whatever it is, they face enormous pressure to actually get a legislative victory, right? Because as crazy as it sounds, in a little over 19 months, we are going to have elections again. Thank God. Thank God we have them every 2 years. Thank God they're not every 6. We'd have to deal with this clown show for 6 years. Oh, God. So his top campaign priorities were renewing the tax cuts, new limits on immigration, which why does he even need rules? He just does what he wants, like the Tsar of Russia, and a boost in domestic energy production. Oh, brother. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing great. You don't even hear about trade and all that. I mean, we never knew that clown show was coming, right? We hear Jim Cramer go, God, I feel betrayed by him. I feel like a sucker. You know what, Jim Cramer, you and all the rest of the Republicans who went along with him in his hokey bullshit, you are suckers. And everybody who voted for him is a sucker. That's all I got to say about that. So we hear from one of the more conservative House members, Ralph Norman from South Carolina. He said the Senate version is dead on arrival. Mike Johnson's got a lot of heavy lifting to do here, right? Norman wrote in a text, he says, among the Freedom Caucus members as well as others, we're very concerned about the lack of cuts. domestic cuts in the bill. And that is going to be the wedge where it's going to be a real problem for the Republicans, because you have about 12 members who are insisting on drastic, draconian cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, things like that. And then you have literally 20 to 25 moderates in there who are scared. They're in blue states, Maryland, California, New York, and they're worried that these cuts are going to lead to their defeat in the next upcoming election cycle. Now we got Andy Ogles, and boy, this guy, him and Nancy Mace from the same state. I mean, literally, it's like Frankenstein had two kids, right? The budget bill is really offensive, he said. Quite frankly, it's a joke. So now they're starting to draw the lines in the sand. We're going to see. We're going to see when Papa Trump comes back from golfing, whenever that is, 2-3 weeks, whenever he can unload all the cash the Saudis are illegally and corruptly putting in his pockets. We'll see what happens there. Seems like the conservatives in the House are angry, and I mean livid, about the Senate proposal requiring that the upper chamber committees to locate at least $4 billion in specific cuts to federal spending. Now, what is $4 billion? I mean, really, in the end of the day, Elon has already said he got $1 trillion, but the wall of receipts say he's only like at 12 billion. And the only reason he's getting there is because he's just literally eliminating funding for all these departments. He's not cutting anything. He's just eliminating human beings. He's laying people off. That's not finding waste. That's just destroying people's lives. But, I digress, right? And which is a microscopic fraction of the $1.5 trillion that the cuts mandated in the House proposal are, right? So here's what the Senate's kind of trying to do. Oh, man. Mitch McConnell, boy, you had some really evil spawn, that's for sure. The Senate Republicans have two tiers of instructions in their compromise plan that they're sending to the House this week, right? Mandating at least $4 billion in cuts in Senate committees, right? And a minimum of $1.5 trillion for those in the House. We don't have any specificity to that, right? And I know I butchered that word, but it's late on a Saturday. So, hey, back off. Give me a little room, okay? I got to breathe. Got to breathe. I'm not just a pretty face. Sometimes I butcher the words too, right? So listen to this one. This is really great. So this is just the starting point, for the committee to give them maximum flexibility in locating cuts, blah, 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 blah. House conservatives, though, don't believe it. Ogles, Comer, Roy, don't believe it. Now, like I said, with the stock market crash, can they actually have the political leverage to defy Trump? We only need 2 people in the House. That's all we need, right? So now, here's another gripe from the House, which is really cute coming into the Senate bill that they're shipping downstream, right? And believe me, crap does flow in the Republican hierarchy downstream, right? So the conservatives are worried in the House that the Senate is going to abandon normal budget rules, right? And adopt an accounting gimmick. Oh, let me tell you something. Bernie Madoff ain't got no accounting gimmicks on the Republicans. They are the masters of that universe, right? I swear to God, that's where all the Enron executives went. They went into the Republican caucus and became senators and members of the House. Now, the accounting gimmick puts the cost of extending Trump's 2017 tax cuts, now listen, I'm going to be serious here, at $0, a far cry from the roughly $4 trillion the CBO, Congressional Budget Office, has estimated they will cost. That might help with the scoring, the critics say, but it would only exacerbate the nation's $36 trillion debt. So it's kind of like David Copperfield, right? Look here, but it's not really here, it's over here. That's what they're trying to do. They're going to use some accounting gimmick, and they're going to say, hey, we didn't add to the debt. They added $3 trillion to the debt in 2017. And now they want to double down with a faltering economy, with a economy going into recession, with the stock market cratering. Yeah. I really see this really going a long way, right? Have you seen the town halls? Have you seen what people are doing? Have you seen the anger because of what people are having to deal with? I'm going to tell you something. This past week, it's going to make that Signal chat where they went to a journalist look like high society. I'm telling you right now, right? So Chip Roy, he actually came out of the devil spawn, said adopting a policy baseline like this does not change basic math, and the Senate is indicating they can't do the math. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got that. All right. Finally, I'm gonna end up with our little battle. I don't know if you happen to see the short. I got some people in the background. Hey, look, I attract people. What do you want to say? I'm out here, right? Doing it. I'm doing it for us. I'm doing it for us. But it seems like Elon Musk and Peter Navarro, who's the senior trade advisor for Trump, say that three times real fast, and all you get is asshole. Um, are in a little fight. Yeah, seems like Peter got his wish, and he convinced Trump we're going to put 20% tariffs on Europe, and Elon didn't like that. You know, he didn't like that because it's going to cost his cars 20% more to go into Europe, right? Where he has a very, very big market. Actually, estimates are it's bigger than the United States. And I like seeing, and I like to see this little infighting in the warehouse. It's just so beautiful. It's like I said before, it's like the cub and the bear, right? We got Prickly Pete over here, the veteran of prison wars, prison shower wars. Ugh. You know, guys all have these fantasies about girls in the shower. Do girls have fantasies about guys in the shower? I don't know. Leave that in the comments. I don't know. Hmm. Never really thought about that. So they're fighting over this, and Peter's won round one, right? And Elon, what a coincidence, is saying that he is going to leave the administration. Hmm. Yeah, maybe he did win. But as the stock market craters, will Elon come around and get a that 3-pointer at the buzzer? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. All right. That's all we got for today. If you could, hit the like and subscribe, and don't be sad because it's coming to an end. Be thankful that we're all in this together. I love you guys. I love what we're doing, and we are on the side of right and morality. We are going to win. We are going to beat these mother effers, and we're going to beat them down, and we're going to destroy them, and we're going to get rid of them. And we're going to bring back America the Great, the country for all, the democracy for all, America the beautiful. All right, that's it for today.